Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with California Fruit and Vegetable Magazine, reporting to you here today from Kern County at a potato research variety field day trial. We got a lot of different varieties on display here for potato growers, regional potato growers to come check out. A lot of promise, I think. And I'm here with one of those potato growers. His name is Jason Selvidge from Buttonwillow Land and Cattle.
Correct.
And one of their divisions, right, is potatoes. It's a big business that you guys are into. You're on the California Potato Research Advisory Board, and wanted to talk with you about kind of how the potato season has gone this year.
Well, we're just really getting into the thick of it now. Most guys have been digging anywhere from a few weeks to maybe 5 or 6 weeks at most, but mostly probably roughly a month. And so we're right in the heart of it now. For me personally, on the west side, I grow a little bit of a later crop, plant a little later, start later, harvest later. So I'm really only about 30% through it right now. So we do a much kind of a back half heavy crop where we dig a lot of volume in July. Really, when a lot of guys are getting close to wrapped up, we're just really ramping up. So I got a long way to go. Big crop, good yields early, good weather in the spring. For growing potatoes, really pretty close to ideal. Big yields right out of the gate, so that's good. And then we'll see if we can hold on to it. In July, it gets hard to hold on to these potatoes if it gets to be 105 and stays there. We'll cross our fingers it doesn't get that hot, stay that hot. You expect some of that, but last year basically all of July was like that and caused a few problems on the end of the crop. So we'll see what happens this year. Hope for more normal temperatures, normal hot, not super hot.
So based on what you're seeing and being on the board, do you anticipate that this year's going to be a bigger crop?
Yeah, it sounds like talking to the other growers, everyone's got good to very good numbers, coming out of the ground. I don't know how they're moving on the market side. My stuff's all contracted, so a little different situation. I'm not in the fresh market, so I hear that it's okay, but not spectacular. But sometimes pricing and volume are not always the same thing as far as how it's moving out. So the market guys could tell you more about that. But for me, it's all about just making yields and filling the contracts I have. And some years you can't sell the extra. That's part of the game in the process side of the business. But and this will probably be one of those years where there won't be really any extra room in the market for extra volume. But that's all right. If you've filled your contracts and had a good crop, you've hopefully made your money and go on to the next year. Yeah.
So do you attribute some of maybe having a bigger crop this year as an industry due to a little more water availability?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's still not enough water for everything, but potato business in theory is a profitable crop, and so you're going to make those water cuts on the other crops, right? I mean, you're not going to plant low value crops. Potatoes should be a pretty high value crop and should have decent margins in it if your things are going your way. So, people are going to prioritize that crop and use the water for that. So, I don't, there's no way to grow a potato crop without giving it normal water. It's not going to yield anything. And so, you have to make those decisions as to where you use your water supply. But if you're going to grow potatoes, you're going to fully water it. So.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of challenges in the market with some of our permanent crops. And so in the meantime, while some people are playing this waiting game to see if it's time to replant some of these tree crops or vines, they might be investing in other commodities, such as potatoes. Yeah. And seeing that as a possibility, do you feel solid about that market and what you're getting for it? I mean, how long have you been growing potatoes, and how long do you expect to continue to grow potatoes in California?
Well, the thing about the potato crop is that pretty much everyone owns their own processing facility, right? Mm-hmm. And even if you're just a chip and fry grower like I am, you still need a pretty extensive processing line just to handle that. And then the market sheds that are packaging and many different types of package and different varieties, they're even more elaborate. And so there's a multi-million-dollar barrier to get over to get into the business. Mm-hmm. And so it keeps people from jumping in. Right. And there's a lot of people that would love to grow potatoes, but they don't have anywhere to process them. And we get asked now and then, well, if I grew some potatoes, could I run them through your facility? And the answer is no, sorry, but I've got my facility built to run my stuff, and if I needed more potatoes to go through it, I'll grow them. But it's, and so that keeps people from jumping in and out of the potato world.
And one last question. Obviously, water is an issue and a limiting factor for growing from season to season. But are there any pest and disease issues that have been a challenge or limiting for your particular operation?
Yeah, there always is. In the potato business, seed is a huge part of what goes on as far as quality of the crop, yield of the crop too. But it's just this whole system. It starts with clean seed and clean ground, too. I mean, you can have ground that's fouled with various things. But, the market guys seem to have a little more trouble than I do with it. I because the process is kind of a little bit of a quicker deal, and we can green dig the vines. It means we don't kill the vines intentionally like a market grower does. So we seem to get by with less disease pressure. But our biggest challenge has been weather, really, in the last few years. Really wet spring is a problem. Really, really hot. Hot summer can be a problem. So potatoes love weather. 80 to 90 and even low 90s is fine, but once you start crawling into the high 90s and over 100, you're on the decline. The plants are on the decline. The product will be on the decline eventually. So that's when it gets to be 100 plus and stays there, that's the biggest problem. And disease problems come and go, and it'll be one thing one year and another thing 2 years later, and just about the time you think you've got one figured out, and some old disease that hadn't been a problem for a decade will pop back up, and so that's just part of farming. It's just part of the game. So
yeah, you can't stay comfortable for long.
No.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time, your willingness to share, and your service on the board. Certainly wish you the best of luck this harvest. Hopefully it doesn't get too hot for our potato growers this year. We can pull in a solid crop. Read more about these things in California Fruit and Vegetable Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.